Welcome back. Here on Police Report, we provide you with information on crime trends, crime prevention techniques, and community programs. But you can get additional information by visiting the Baltimore County Police Department's website as well. The address is on your screen. Press releases from the Baltimore County Police Department can be accessed on the police department's website and on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. We encourage you to like us on Facebook and to follow us on Twitter for the latest news. As previously discussed, the Baltimore County Police Department is now hiring police cadets and police officers. For additional information, go to joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542 to speak with recruiters. Here with us now to discuss springtime crime prevention is Officer Carey Kus from the Police Department's Youth and Community Services section. Thank you for being on the show today, Officer Kus.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And with the warmer weather coming, hopefully very soon, we want to give the public some tips on how to keep our homes more secure. So what advice could you give us to prevent a burglary of our home?
Sure. I think it's important that we have proper locks on our exterior doors. And making sure that we're using them. Having good locks on our garages and our basement and any outbuildings that we have is important. And when we leave or go to bed for the evening, we need to make sure that we're locking them. Having good lighting outside on the exterior, something that's motion censored would be a good idea. I think it's important never to hide a key outside anywhere on your property. It's best to give it to a trusted neighbor if you're worried about locking yourself out of the home.
Okay. And landscaping's a good idea to have also?
Absolutely.
What's some considerations we should do about trees or bushes and shrubs?
Right. You definitely don't want to have those trees and shrubberies that are blocking your doors and windows that might be able to conceal a burglar if they're trying to get in your house. You want to make sure that they're trimmed low so that someone riding outside of your house or by your house or police officers can view your windows and doors and see if anybody's, so no one's hiding behind those locations.
Okay. And one thing that I've seen that's interesting about some of the advice that you give out is that if you're outside doing yard work, we have tips that you should do if you're outside doing yard work?
Right. Well, you should keep your doors locked when you're inside your home, but especially if you're outside of your home, you want to make sure that those doors are locked. So if you're out front, somebody could be entering the back of your home or vice versa. So you want to make sure that you're keeping those doors locked and keeping an eye on what's going on while you're outside.
Okay. And you have mentioned windows and doors. What's some of the ways that we can keep our windows and doors secure?
So you can add extra pins to your windows to prevent them and to help the weak locks that are kind of put on some of the windows to help when you're lifting them. You can use Charlie bars on sliding doors because those locks aren't always the best, or even just a piece of wood or wooden dowel in those doors to make them a little bit more difficult to open. So
the wooden dowels, you can go to a hardware store.
Absolutely, or just cut a piece of wood.
Absolutely, and have that used it in the way. How will that dowel assist in keeping the door secure?
Well, because the locking mechanisms on sliding glass doors aren't super secure, so it would give an extra barrier when you're trying to open the door. It'll give an extra prevention from that door being able to be opened.
Okay, all right. And you had mentioned when we're inside the house, you definitely suggest that we keep our doors locked while we're inside the house. How about lighting inside the house?
Right, I think it's a good idea that you have some type of lighting on inside your house, especially when you're not home. You can put those types of light on timers so they come on under the dark hours. As the time goes on, the days get longer, you can set that to a later time. So it gives the illusion that maybe someone is home.
Okay. And then is there some other tips that we can talk about when we leave our homes?
Sure. You want to make sure that your doors are locked when you're leaving your home, putting those lights on when you're leaving your home, and making sure that everything's secured before you leave. If you want to go the extra added security, you can add cameras or have an alarm system installed in your house to give it some extra security.
Okay. And what about if I'm going to be out of town for a vacation or extended amount of time?
Sure.
What's some tips that you can give, some advice you can give us?
Well, I think it's really important that you stop your mail from the post office or make sure that any packages that you have that are being delivered are either halted or you have a trusted neighbor getting your packages. You can even have that neighbor park their car in your driveway or out front to give the illusion that someone's home. Make sure that there's lights being left on or on timers so it appears that people are coming and going in the residence. And have your neighbors that you trust keep an eye out for your house, and you know, who's supposed to be on the property, who's not supposed to be on the property. In addition, the police department has a vacant house form that you can fill out online and give to either each precinct that you live in, and that gives the patrol officers knowledge that you're not home and gives them a good contact number should something happen at your house.
Okay, great. And you had mentioned stopping the mail. How can you do? How can you go about stopping your mail?
Sure, you can do it right online through the post office, and you can halt your mail, and you give the date that you want it to stop and the date you would like it to resume.
Okay.
It's fairly easy.
And then you had also mentioned notifying the police department about when you're going to be out of town. How can you go about notifying us?
Absolutely. On our website, there are a specific location under the police news is an iWatch. I believe it's the link, and then under there is a vacant house form.
Yes.
And then when you fill that out, it actually goes to the precinct that you need it to go to when you put your address in. And it gives you contact information for when you're away, people that are supposed to be on the property, and you know, if there's lights on, if there's a car supposed to be in the driveway. So it just helps the officers, you know, if something happens at your home.
And God forbid something does happen, it gives us contact information that we'd be able to contact you if something does happen to your house.
Correct.
Okay, that's very interesting. And let's talk about alarm systems. You had started to talk about that. What's the most important factor in having an alarm system in your home?
Well, you want to make sure that it's monitored, because if it's going off and no one's hearing it, then that's not really doing any good. So if it's monitored and you're paying for the monitoring service, they're going to call the police, and then we're able to respond. And they're also going to have contact information for you as well. So I think just making sure that it's monitored and that it's working. You actually have to turn it on when you leave and turn it on at night, so it's properly armed.
Okay, and there's a lot of companies out here. What functions should I be looking for in an alarm system? What do you believe is important?
Well, I think that it should be monitored, and you need to just shop around and see what's going to fit your needs. You know, as far as having the sensors on your doors or sensors on your windows, or whatever issues that you may be having. I mean, there's different prices and things like that. You need to shop around and see what's going to work for you. Okay. Just making sure that it's monitored and it's not going off and being a nuisance, and no one's calling.
Are video cameras a good idea to have around the home?
Absolutely, and I think it's important that they are of quality and that the images are clear so that the police can, you know, make a good identification if need be. So I think that they're a good idea. I also think it's important, if you're going to have those exterior cameras, that you have lighting sufficient enough to illuminate those visions, or, you know, what's happening on the exterior, and that we're able to see. What
I've seen in the police department is that we get information about people's homes that were burglarized, and we're seeing the images of people actually burglarizing the homes. So we're getting a lot of valuable information from these cameras.
Absolutely, and some of them are really good, and they're not very expensive, and they're easily installed. Some of them are wireless, so you don't have to make those hardwiring through your home, so they make it pretty easy. And they're helping us solve other crimes, not just of home burglaries, but of other things that are happening in the area with the help of those camera systems.
Absolutely. And some of these surveillance systems have, you had mentioned, exterior cameras. So is it a good idea to look into exterior cameras? And you said it's important to make sure that you have lighting for this, so another reason for the lighting.
Sure.
So the exterior, as far as use of the exterior cameras, what type of systems should we be looking for if we're going to look to add that to our house?
Well, I think it's important that they're weather, you know, that they bear the weather, and that they're going to be of recording capacity, something that's going to record, and you're able to keep that system. Probably something internet-based. They even have systems now that come right to your phone. They notify you if there's motion in your house. So it's something that you're able to give us a clear image, something that's of good quality, because we're only able to work with those good qualities and get an identification if it's working properly.
Okay, and if we're able to get that image as a police officer, if there's a crime involved in that, what are we able to do with that image afterwards?
Well, we can probably get it enhanced through our forensics team, and we can circulate it around to get an identity, and that image can get passed around from department to department for you know, better chances of identifying someone, and it's really helping us solve lots of crimes. So they're really good to have.
Okay, and you said it was important to talk with your neighbors, have your neighbors keep an eye out.
Absolutely.
What's some other ideas that you can give us about how to keep our neighborhood, our greater community safe?
Sure. Well, I think it's important, if you have a community association in your area, that you reach out to them and think about a Citizens on Patrol. And they do help the police. They're able to do extra patrols when we're not available in the area to call police. They look for things, maybe people left their doors open, maybe they left their car doors unlocked, suspicious people in the area, if someone's out of character for your area, or it's 80 degrees outside and someone's wearing a big coat, that might be something suspicious that they can call in for us. So it's important that the neighbors come together and information share, get the information out as to maybe crime trends that are happening in the area and things like that.
Okay. And if I see a suspicious car or suspicious person in the neighborhood, what should I do?
You definitely want to call 911. You want to give the best description that you can, clothing, the direction of travel, and what you observed that made it suspicious.
Okay.
And then that helps us out, and even if it's something that you think is not important, it might be important down the road. They might not have committed a crime in your presence, but they may have just committed a crime up the street, and that information helps us solve the crime.
Okay. And we don't want to put anyone in a risk of danger.
Certainly.
What's important if you see a suspicious car? What information should I have if I call 911, if I can get it safely?
Right. If you can get the information safely, we certainly don't want you to put yourself in harm's way, but if you can get the tag number, that's obviously most important. Otherwise, the make and the model, is it a 4-door car, is it a 2-door car, is it an SUV, is it a van, and a great description of what's going on. Maybe something that sticks out on the car, a bumper sticker, maybe specific type of tires that are on it, just any identifying information that helps us find the car and the reason why it's suspicious.
Okay.
And then we're able to stop that car and get the occupants identified. So even if they did, like I said before, didn't commit any crime at that time, we might be able to go back and find out what happened previous.
Okay. And the most important tip that we can give people in general to keep ourselves and our belongings safe is exactly what?
Right. It's just to be vigilant and keep an eye out, making sure that you're locking your belongings up. You're responsible for your belongings. We can't certainly watch everybody's items, so you want to just make sure that you're doing your part to keep your home safe, your car safe, keeping valuables out of visibility for criminals. And if you see something, say something.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Officer Kus.
Sure.
Officer Kus provided us with many tips and ideas on how to keep our homes safe and methods on how to secure our belongings. If you would like more information on crime prevention tips and techniques, please call our Youth Community Services section at 410-887-5901 or visit our website. Once again, thank you, Officer Kus, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay. And you are watching Police Report, and we'll be right back.